bro, if happy wife was already the dynamic, when a woman gets pregnant, that gets like dialed up to level 1000, you know. I was not good at like, I want ice cream. It's 11:30 at night. I'm like, lots of people want lots of things. Like, I love you. Good night. You know. Oh my goodness, you didn't go get that woman ice cream? No, no. At 11:30 at night when she wants ice cream, no, I'm not gonna go to the store and get poison for you and for our baby. Like, I'm not sorry either. Welcome to the Family Captain Podcast. I'm your host. I'm your coach, John Michael Clark. On this show, we help Christian husbands grow in family leadership and sex and marriage. So, if you believe that Jesus is King, and you want to lead your family with strength and love, and you want frequency and freedom in your sex life, then you're in the right place. We're going to help you build an incredible family culture where God is glorified and your family is blessed by your strong, loving leadership.
Brothers, welcome to the Family Captain Podcast. I am your host, Chris Farrell. I am here, as always, with Mr. John Michael Clark. JM, tell him what this show is designed to do.
What's up, brothers? We are here to help you become the greatest man your wife and kids have ever known. And yet, we're still not just staring at them. That makes it sound like it's all about their judgments and their assessments. It's not. It's all about us walking out our obedience to Jesus. And yes, the fruitful byproducts will be our wives being blessed and thriving, our children being blessed and thriving, because we're focused on what God has called us to do, who He's called us to be. So yeah, that's what we do, man. We equip men to really lead well, and we actually define it around here. And we define it with some real strength. We talk about the compassion, the responsibility, and yes, the authority. This is all win-win. This is all good news. That's why we're excited, man. We have a lot of good news to share so that people would be blessed, that marriages would thrive, that Christians would have the best marriages. Christians should have the best sex lives. Christians should have the best family cultures. So that's what the Family Captain's all about, brother.
Let's go, dude. That's right. This particular episode, JM, we're niching down a little bit. We're going to talk about leading through pregnancy, and you and I are very qualified to talk about this.
You are very qualified.
I mean, both of us are, man. You got 3 boys. I got
not worthy.
3 boys and 3 girls. And, man, here's where I want to start this. As a guy who, like, my wife has had 8 pregnancies in 9 years. Like, we know what it's like. The majority of our marriage has been trying to lead through pregnancy. And I will say that even me, it's been hard to put words to how tough it can be to lead through those seasons, because her world flips upside down emotionally and physically, and mine generally stays the same, and I'm adapting to that. And so I know you've coached a lot of guys in this place as well. What's the first thing that you really want to ingrain in a man when his wife is expecting?
Well, I think you've done a great job already emphasizing we are adapting, which sounds strange, right? As captains, we know that we are setting the tone. We realize we're the foundation. We're the head. So we're leading everything. And yet it means something. It's got to mean something to live with your wife in an understanding way. We could discuss it, and I think there's a lot of depth to it. But certainly, whenever our wife is pregnant, when she's growing our baby, a human, when the Lord is doing this miracle inside of her, there's adaptations and there's wise, loving leadership. So as a man, there's a lot of things we could do on our own. We can move fast. We can go into bachelor mode. We could stay in bachelor mode, unfortunately, if we're not careful. Some guys, we stayed in bachelor mode years into marriage. But understanding my flock can't necessarily move at the same speed I can move at. So I need to move at the speed that my flock can still graze. They can still lie down beside still waters. They can lie down in the green grass. They can rest. They can move at a pace that's not like me. I'm a dragon-killing machine. I'm tip of the spear. That's what God made you for, brothers. And so I know that you're hungry to expand and conquer and all those things. And if you were just a bro by yourself, you could do a lot more of that. And yet you're not anymore. So it requires this new level of leadership. So there's a lot that comes into play when your wife gets pregnant. First of all, it's a wonderful gift. Praise God. We rejoice. That's always the right response, whether or not you were quote unquote trying. What a blessing. Children are a blessing from the Lord. Children are a heritage of the Lord. Children are wealth. So we're never sorry for having kids. We're always thankful, and we're always, pleased that we get to glorify God in that way. And yet, it's a time to pay attention and go, okay, how now, Lord? What's best and what's next? How can a captain walk through this?
Yes. Amen, dude. And in this particular episode, we are going to cover the gamut. We're going to cover sex. during pregnancy. We're going to cover temptation. We're going to cover frustration and yeah, just overall trying to adapt to this new world, you know? And so with that, let's start with probably the most difficult thing that I think guys deal with when it comes to the pregnancy is like this feeling of like, okay, like obviously she's in pain, she's physically not feeling good, maybe she's experiencing sickness. There's a bunch of things that could be happening in her world. But again, back to us, like we generally have the same needs, right?
Exactly. Yeah, her world is completely changing. And every pregnancy has been different for us.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes, like, there's no morning sickness. Sometimes there's tons of morning sickness. Sometimes the hormones are like, seem to be advantageous, helping her. Other times it's like, oh my goodness, like, she's feeling like, ugh, I'm turning inside out. I feel crazy. I don't like anybody or anything. So, how do we navigate all that stuff? And then, while at the same time, like, I'm not necessarily experiencing all that. How do we navigate the cravings, the weird cravings that happen?
Bro.
And there's cultural expectation that goes along with a pregnant woman. Bro, if happy wife was already like the dynamic in any marriage, when a woman gets pregnant, that gets like dialed up to level 1000. It's 2 a.m. Mama want ice cream. Like, if you're not a good loving husband if you don't go get the ice cream, which I don't know if we should go there now or not, but like, I was not good at that. That's one way of putting it. I was not good at like, I want ice cream. It's 11:30 at night. I'm like, lots of people want lots of things. Like, I love you. Good night. You know. Oh my goodness, you didn't go get that woman ice cream? No, no. At 11:30 at night when she wants ice cream, no, I'm not gonna go to the store and get poison for you and for our baby. Like, I'm not sorry either. Like,
Yeah.
don't you know she's growing a human? Yeah, and I'm so thankful, and it's a wonderful thing. But so we do have a funny craving story. So
Yeah.
Natalie craved tomatoes during one pregnancy.
That's
So I don't
wild.
know. I don't know what her body thought it needed, but people eat weird stuff that they don't need for sure. Like,
Sure,
there's
sure.
nothing in that thing that your body was craving. It's just some weird thing happening. But one night she was craving. She was like, "I want to go to the restaurant and I want to get French fries and ketchup." She's like, "I want so much ketchup," and she doesn't even like ketchup. She never eats ketchup. So we're getting this is with our firstborn. We're getting ready to leave our little apartment. We're getting ready to walk out the door. She's like, "I can't wait." So she's like, turns around and goes to the fridge. And I'm like, I follow her like in horror and in confusion and in curiosity. And I'm like, what is about to happen? And she gets the ketchup out of the fridge and coats her finger in ketchup and then
Oh god.
sucks the ketchup off her finger. And I'm just standing there like disgusted. And she's like, that is so good.
That
So
is hilarious.
I'm sure the guys have plenty of hilarious craving stories as
All
well.
right.
But yeah, lots of people want lots of things. And
Yeah.
just because the
Yeah.
spouse makes a demand at midnight doesn't mean that spouse A or spouse B is required. I think that street doesn't go both ways, right? Am I right, Chris? What I think husbands could make certain requests at midnight. Hey, babe, you
True.
know what I really like? I bet you would. Good night. Okay, I bet you'd like ice cream and, again, poisonous, toxic ingredients. And I'm
Right.
not giving soy to my baby. Anyway, so yeah, all that stuff's funny, but there's just so many variations. There's so many things that she's dealing with. The main thing we want to do is we want to continue to be the lighthouse.
Yeah, amen.
So we're probably going to be tested in new ways. Her hormones are very likely going to be working against her a lot. So we're going to be tested by that, and it's going to be more difficult. We want to rejoice. We want to bless the season, but the primary thing we have to do is keep controlling us and go, all right, how can I still have firm foundations and firm standards, but be warm, be kind, be gracious. Don't paint her into a corner. If there's more sin, hey, let there be more grace. That's the foundation of everything. We want there to be this. I love you, you love me, same team. Let's rejoice over this baby as we're decorating a nursery, or as we're rearranging bedrooms, or as we're going to doctor's appointments, or as we're dealing with difficulties in pregnancy. Maybe things aren't going as they should. So there's just so many possible complications there. What are some of the things he should be doing? Well, one of the things he needs to keep in mind is she's probably not feeling her hottest. She's probably not feeling the most attractive that she's ever felt. For some guys, pregnancy's like sexy time. He's just like, oh my goodness. Like, when she's pregnant, that's just like fire for me. So that was me. So, like, when my wife was pregnant, I was like, oh my goodness, so beautiful. Just beautiful, beautiful. beautiful. I just thought she was beautiful all through pregnancy. And I've been surprised. Some guys are like, bro, JM, it's like their dirty secret. They're like, not that. I do not feel that. And I don't know. I'll just put it lightly. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. Like, no condemnation. Like, if you're not feeling that, but still, you still need to communicate your love and your affection and your desire for your wife. So, I've heard of guys who are like, hey, yeah, as soon as she gets pregnant, it's pretty much like, no thanks for me for like 9 months. And I'm
Hmm.
like, homie, that's a horrible plan. If you guys haven't already heard, my minimum standard, my minimum emergency standard for a healthy marriage is twice a week in the marriage bed. That's just like maintenance mode. Well, what if we're not hungry? Well, you might not be hungry for food, but your body still needs those nutrients. So you might not feel horny. You might not feel sexual urges, but your marriage still needs this nutrient. Brother,
Yeah.
don't make the mistake of thinking that sex was exclusively physical.
Mm.
It's physical, it's spiritual, and it's emotional. And your marriage needs this nutrient. So keep pursuing your wife, keep delighting in your wife, keep sharing, keep talking about her beauty. What is beautiful? Then comment on what is beautiful and delight in those things because she needs to hear it and your marriage still needs that nutrient. We still want to keep this boyfriend girlfriend dynamic all the time.
Yeah. You bring up a great point about how important it is to continue to pursue her. But there's also kind of a dark side to that as well. When in pregnancy, in our experience, it's been like, okay, I'm pursuing my wife the same way I was. I feel attracted. I feel like she's glowing. She's beautiful. Like I love her. But what's interesting is like sometimes you lead through those seasons and you don't feel like anything's being reciprocated back. And it's very difficult. Sexually, it's very difficult. Emotionally, in a lot of ways. So how would you coach a guy through, hey, I'm still leading her, I'm still the lighthouse, I'm still doing what I need to do, but dude, I'm just not getting anything back.
Yeah.
Not that
So
that's why we do it.
we
But
have to
yeah.
be careful here because there's marriages that are
Yes.
in different places. So
Sure.
it depends. On one hand, the answer is it's the same that we would coach for that scenario without a pregnancy. There's plenty of marriages who are in that place anyway. I love my wife.
Mm,
I like my wife. I'm attracted to my wife. And she's just kind of like, all you want is sex. Well, how
yes,
do we
good
coach
point.
him through that? Level up, build attraction, all the things, and play the long game there. There is a time and a place to address it head on, but typically we start there, step one. Unfortunately, in our lack of wisdom and in our ignorance and in our frustration, we start like, I guess I just need to talk to her more about my problem and my difficulty and my challenge and my desire, which is actually not step one. That's actually a much later step. Give her a new husband. She still didn't respond to that guy? First of all, bro, that's super weird. Let me ask some questions and make sure you are the man you think you are. Oh, turns out you are. Wow, okay. And she's still not responding well to that. Now it's conversation time. And now here's how to walk through that with wisdom. Anyway, what does a guy do when he's pursuing his wife? If they already had a healthy baseline of sex and marriage before the pregnancy, and then pregnancy comes along and he's like, yeah, I still love her. I'm still pursuing her and I still want her. And she's just like, no, sir. Like the kitchen is closed for 9 months. Well, I mean, we'll avoid the sin on her part and the selfishness there, where she's depriving her spouse and not providing what she should be providing. Of course, she's not feeling like it, so we can be compassionate, and at the same time, we can go. I get where she's at. I don't condemn her, and at the same time, we can be honest about where she's at. It's not a healthy place. So, what can he do? His moves haven't changed. He can continue to pursue, but if they already had the healthy baseline, it would be time to bring it up. Hey, babe, like I'm not putting our sex life on the shelf for 9 months. I still love you. I still like. Well, I don't feel like it. I don't want it. Like he's got to gently challenge that and not just submit to it. Now he can't control anything except himself, but he
Mhm.
should not go into silence and he should not go dormant. And she will probably, if that's her perspective, we're talking about that bad case scenario. If this is her perspective, she is going to shame him. She is going to try and condemn him into silence. Stop pursuing me sexually, you pervert. Stop pursuing me sexually. You're selfish, is the twist that she'll put on it. You're so selfish. Now, again, like, bro, here's the caveat. Like, does this guy have any wisdom? Is this guy like a hound dog? Is this guy like a jackrabbit who won't leave the girl alone and not being compassionate to his wife who needs more rest? So, like, this is what's dangerous about the podcast, Chris. The
I know,
difference between
right?
coaching where we can get into the weeds. Like, bro, Great job on that because you explained all the details to me. Or the other guy who you're like, oh my goodness, bro, that was a train wreck. Go apologize to your wife. So I'm taking for granted that you are gentle and tender and sweet to this girl, and you are
Yes.
compassionate, and you are prioritizing her needs. And also, there ain't no reason in the world a couple ought to be going 9 months without having sex. Again,
Right.
without some health exception, which we're not referencing at this moment. We're just talking like, I don't feel like it. I'm growing a person. I'm the
Right.
keeper of the sex. Now get me ice cream. Like, no, Big Mama, we're not playing that game. Don't call her Big Mama, by the way.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was like,
I
whoa,
was just
bro.
saying, but that attitude, that was kind of Big Mama attitude to me. It was the spirit of the thing.
The spirit of it.
Yeah, the spirit of the thing was she was putting on Big Mama. It's like Boss Babe. It's just pregnancy mode is Big Mama. Give
Right.
me ice cream, and I'm the
Right.
keeper of the sex. So yeah, I think he's got to address some of that. But even then, he just needs to keep pursuing. And if she's gonna say her no, she gets to say her no. That's between her and the Lord.
Yeah.
And what else can he do? Like, there's not a oh now you proceed to what? Like,
Hmm.
continue to level up. Don't condemn. Don't shame. Don't make it the only thing that's going on. But yeah, it's a thing. So build attraction as always. Pursue your wife as always. Keep casting your vote. She gets to cast hers.
Well, speaking of building attraction, I think guys oftentimes are like, "Oh, great! Now we both have license to just blow it on our diet. Now we both have license to like." She's not going to the gym. She doesn't feel like it. I'll take my time off too. So what typically happens statistically is guys gain a significant amount of weight, and then they both kind of go in the opposite direction physically. And
Yeah.
so, talk about how important it is for a guy to lead from that place.
Yeah, always. That's a great point. Pregnancy or not, guys who have asked us, "Hey man, how do I help my wife lose weight?" It's this untouchable subject, and it's something that's a big issue, and like we've heard that many, many times. It's a very common dynamic in a lot of marriages. Beauty is so important. Beauty is a part of a woman who she is. So beautifying and beauty is like core identity kind of stuff for the feminine in a way that it's not for a man. So Chris, you can be like, JM, you're small. I'm like, I know, brother. And you're like, get bigger. I'm like, yes, sir. I'm on it.
Yes, sir.
Like it's not it's important to me because strength and protection matter, but it doesn't hit me the same way as like if you say that to your wife, like, babe, like big mama, like it's time to tighten up, like ouch. First of all, there's the headship piece. So that bears a lot of weight. And
Yes.
also like you're speaking to identity in her and beauty, and that has a lot of potential for sting.
Yes.
Of course, the error that men then make is like, she's crying. I guess I won't bring this up for another 3 years because she got mad at me last time. Like, brother,
It's a great
welcome to
point.
courageous leadership. Like, we don't just get silenced into submission because she cried and got upset. Be very gentle, be very sweet. But what's the point, JM? The point is lead by example.
Mm.
You go first. Well, I've been going to the gym for 2 weeks and she's not coming yet. Brother, transform your body and then let's see what happens. Like, it's not
Yeah.
going to the gym, it's providing fruit, providing results. That'll create some gravity for her to be drawn in naturally
Yeah.
without lectures, without, hey, I signed you up for Fatty McFaster's, program. Like, that's not going to be the thing that encourages her. But instead, as her husband's like getting after it, then she's going to try and sabotage your efforts unintentionally. She's
Yeah.
not doing this deliberately. But as she's pregnant and gaining weight and you're staying on the path or getting even more dialed in, she's like, you're getting all this and I'm feeling all terrible. That's her saying, stop it. And that's where you go, I love you, baby. Hey, come on with me. Like, she wants you to stop. She doesn't want you to challenge her and call her higher. She wants you to stop it and go get us both ice cream and let's eat the whole thing together. And that's where you're like, hey, sweet thing, I love you, gorgeous. Hey, come, you ought to come with me. Let's walk together. Strength training and walking. Strength training and walking. Strength training and walking. That's the master key, everybody. I just gave you all the weight, all the fitness advice in the world. You're welcome.
Yeah.
But if we can get him dialed in, that's always going to be her best bet. Like, oh, well, she just eats all this junk. Well, don't buy it. Well, she'll go buy it anyway. All right, well then she can do that, but you're going to keep getting rid of it. Like, all right, we don't need this anymore. You're going to continue to lead yourself well. You're going to lead the kids well. So if she goes off the rails, it's going to be obvious to her. One of these things is not like the other. And the
Yeah.
whole eating for two argument, especially when it's their first baby, they don't know. They just know
Yeah.
they're really hungry. And
Yeah.
especially if they don't know how to eat. Bro, when we first got married, like Natalie didn't know how to eat. We didn't know how to eat. We didn't understand the priority of protein. We didn't understand how to actually build muscle and why that was so important.
Sure.
Pregnancy, you're supposed to gain what, 25 pounds? There's like a window.
25
It's like
to
25 to
35.
30.
Yeah.
25 to 35 is like they say the window. But a lot of times, first pregnancy, mamas gain a lot more because they're just like,
50 to 60.
I don't feel bad about that piece of pound cake because I'm eating for two. Like, so there's all this license, there's all this justification, and the hamster's running on that wheel to justify everything I want to put in my
Yeah.
mouth instead of, no, we're still going to do nutritious things here. So,
Yes.
bro, be the example. It's hard. Welcome to leadership. Welcome to being the head. The head is where the mouth is. So you've got to put the right things in your
Right.
mouth. And that's going to be her best bet. It's not the ultimate control tactic. It's just her best chance at a positive response.
I love that you're saying this because I know this is something that guys are dealing with. It's like, well, you don't understand me now that I am growing a human. So, like, we are totally opposite. But you know who does understand me? My friends. And all of the feminine culture that wants to tell me, like, I have license to do this thing now, to treat you this way, to hate you for this week, to do X, Y, and Z. I'm
Yeah.
not speaking from experience. My wife has been, fairly mild in a lot of these ways, but I see it all over the place. How does a guy begin to take back leadership when she's so influenced by people who understand her?
He has to go slowly and he just has to keep casting his vote. So when she says the thing, her and her friends were talking today, and yeah, and I was like, blah, 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 and I wasn't going to get the dessert, but they're like, girl, get that dessert, blah, blah, blah. And she's sharing that story with you, brother, right now because she wants you to go, yes, queen. And here's the key. Not only are you not going to say yes, queen, you're also going to cast a vote against what took place. Not with a heavy hand, but with a gentle. So she's like, and I did this. So I had the chocolate double fudge super lava explosion, and it was so good. And I was like, oh, that's what this mama soul needed. Like, in girl culture and all the justification and all the yes queen vibes that she got from her girlfriends, who of course want her to blow up because that's a whole another
Dude, you're so right.
competition.
That's
Feminine
hilarious. You're so
competition.
right.
Bro, Michael Foster says men insult one another and they don't mean it. Women will compliment one another and they don't mean it. Do I look fat in this? No, you're amazing. You're beautiful. Like, do you think I'm getting fat? You're beautiful. That's not what she asked. She asked, am I getting fat?
That's good,
You're
dude.
beautiful. Yes, she's beautiful. And also, like, there's things that are changing here.
Yeah,
And not for the positive. Because body fat's not good for you, everybody.
correct.
This is the Captain Obvious podcast right now. Body fat's bad. Objectively bad. Excess body fat is objectively bad. So anyway. So yeah, he's got to cast his vote with gentleness. And whatever level he was at before, if he's at level 0, brother, you do not go to level 8. You know what level you go to? You go to level 1. You don't want to give whiplash. You don't want to pull the rug out from under her. But you just got to cast your vote with things. And that's not just with that, it's with everything. Because your silence will be taken at a minimum as, I disagree, but I'm scared to say anything. And she's like, I'll take that. As long as he doesn't speak up about it, I don't have to really feel anything. Some wives will even demand, you're not saying anything, you're quiet. She's feeling the nervousness of like, do I sense his disapproval? Yeah, I disapprove. Yeah, hey babe, like let's keep getting nutritious things in us. Let's keep getting nutritious things. Like let's keep hitting our macros. I'm growing a human. I know, baby. So let's hit the macros that are needed for pregnancy. You don't need to hit my macros. You don't need my amount of protein and carbs and calories and no, you need to hit yours. So we're not asking her to like take part in the CrossFit games. Like see these women who are like deadlifting and doing Olympic lifts with like a 9-month belly. I'm like, yeah, I don't want my wife throwing weight above her head at 9 months pregnant like that. But I think there's some wisdom between CrossFit, extreme, I'm 9 months pregnant, and I'm eating for two. Get me the ice cream. So, and guys have to be honest. Like, oh, she got so mad. Like, oh, yeah? I believe you. But this doesn't go in a good direction. 10 years of silence, 10 years of quietness, attraction slowly dies, weight gain. I think the average American gains 3 pounds a year.
Is that right?
That was a few years ago. 3 pounds a year. And so it just comes on slow, a little bit here, a little bit there. But let's keep giving the Lord our best, the temple of the Holy Spirit. Do you really believe you're the temple of the Holy Spirit? Really? Do you really believe that? All right. Let's do well. Let's do the best we can with this thing.
Yeah.
And let's encourage our wife to do the same.
No, it's good. Let's talk about anxiety. This is a big one. This is a really, really big one. I almost feel like women are more spiritually attacked during pregnancy of like the safety of the baby and doing the right thing. And oh my gosh, I forgot to take my vitamin. Like everything is a big deal. And what's interesting about this question, Jam, and I speak from experience on this, is that the anxiety can also be frustrating because, again, you're living your normal life. This life's getting turned upside down, and now she's different. She's reacting different, responding different.
Yeah, I haven't felt the
And
baby move today.
yeah, so
You
like
know, like
talk about
stuff.
how to bring that peace to your wife and how to be proactive about
Yeah,
it.
man. I was talking to Natalie before we recorded this episode. I told her what we're going to be talking about, and my youngest is 10 now, so that was really like when my journey was still warming up. I was still in it, still learning it, still applying it, starting to teach it. I had made a lot of progress, but I don't have like I didn't ace this with our pregnancies, but I've seen a lot of guys who have. I've had so many. We've had 400 plus brothers now come through the family captain elite. So I've seen a bunch of studs like just crush it through pregnancy, like just on top of everything and just be such a blessing. But Natalie told me, she's like, baby, the thing you did that was so awesome was you always just prayed over our babies. You read the scripture to our babies while they're in the womb and just sang to our babies. Like I was always emphasizing, like we weren't waiting for the baby dedication after the baby was born. Our babies were dedicated like the moment we saw that we were pregnant. We were just like rejoicing to the Lord and saying, this child is yours. And so that spiritual covering is going to do a lot to bless your wife. And that did a lot to bless Natalie. When I didn't know to do a lot of the other practical things, I knew not to go get ice cream at 11:30 at night. But when I didn't know to do a lot of the other practical things, I knew to emphasize the presence of the Lord in my baby's life. Like, I want this baby, little he, she, we used to call him. That's not so funny of a joke anymore because the world's gotten
Right.
so freaking weird. But we would say he, she until we found out that they were all he's. But we would say, little baby he, she. Um, I mean, we would just constantly, I would constantly lay hands on her belly, like in the evenings, like just us hanging out together. And I would put my mouth right up to her belly, and I would preach the gospel to my sons, and I would tell them all the things, and I would tell them how much I love them and who they are, and praying over them and praying God's protection and praying God's blessing. So we have, you know, there, you can't, there's no hack, Chris, you know this, for like the legitimate spiritual life. And somebody doesn't have a legitimate spiritual life, they're like, how do I? I'm like, bro, like so much is covered just by like genuine. We said that a few weeks ago, I think. Like, bro, is your life like, does it even need faith to live it? Or is your life just like an autopilot? And I've been in those seasons, by the way, where I'm just like, I'm doing it all by the flesh. It's just horses and chariots striving, and I'm not dependent upon the Lord. So I don't want to condemn and throw rocks when I'm living in this glass house. But so I don't want to be hypocritical and harsh, but I just want to say, like, we need to be dependent upon the Lord. And during pregnancies, that was something I did well. So whenever my wife would have concern, I'm like, well, let's hang on to his promises. Hey, you know what? Here's what we're going to pray. We're going to pray. Because what else can we do? What are we going to do? Go to the doctor. They're going to scan. What are they going to do? They can't do anything. So we can only go to him. So let's go to him with genuineness. Let's not go to him with fingers crossed kind of prayers. Let's go to him with, Lord, you said in your word, and Lord, we're trusting that our fruit won't fall off the vine until it's time, but that things will come with the perfect ripeness, and we're trusting you and we're thanking you in advance. We believe we receive when we pray. Like Jesus said, whoever says to this mountain, be removed and cast in the sea. But believe you receive when you pray. And I'll believe I receive when I have the thing. That's not how faith works, brother. I believe I receive when I pray. That's what Bible faith looks like. It's not denial. It's just saying it's as good as done. And that brings the peace of the Lord. Because now we're into worship and we're into gratitude. So I'm sure if she was in here, she could say, yeah, we had this scare with that pregnancy and we had these scares with that one. I'm sure all that happened. Again, John Michael's memory, not, I can't just pull it out the Rolodex. She can trigger my mind and then I can remember. But that's the thing, man. Pray over your baby. Pray over your wife. Like, what else is there? What else answer could I give to bring the peace of the Lord except for the
Mm.
peace of the Lord? So that's the biggest thing. That's one thing I did well. If I didn't do anything else well through our pregnancies, that was the one thing that Natalie was like, that was such a blessing. And that you constantly had the certainty and the Bible faith and the conviction and the presence of the Lord were always invited into the baby's life and into my life and into the pregnancy.
No, That's powerful. And I'm going to give you an opposite perspective, like from a guy who's a Christian who believes in prayer, all the things. I had a very difficult time with connecting with the baby. So like my wife would be like, "Here, put your hand here." And like for some reason, I wasn't interested in like feeling the baby. It was like weird to me, right? And that bothered her. And I tried to like make it seem like I wasn't like I tried to make it seem like it was, but truth is truth. I was like,
Yes, it's
why
good, man.
do I feel that way? You
Yeah.
know? And I personally realized it was a fair amount of anxiety on my part. I was
Okay.
like, I can't get connected to this baby because I don't know what's going to happen.
Because what if
Right?
something happens?
Exactly. And so that was really something I've
Wow.
learned in the pregnancies as well. And so I
Wow.
wasn't the guy who's like, oh, Lord Jesus, be with this baby. Like, sure, I'm praying over the baby, but not with this confidence.
Mm, sure. Bro, I bet that helps so many guys. So if you can relate to what Chris just said, and you're like, yeah, I kind of feel the same way because I'm kind of worried too. Hey, brother, well, then don't stay there. Don't you dare stay there, man. Take it to the Lord. Receive this blessing. Don't hedge your bets. Oh, I'll count my chicken when it hatches. Man, count your chicken right now. Man, John the Baptist was filled with the Holy Spirit while he was in his mother's womb.
That's right.
Like, the Lord knows your baby now. Name your baby now. Move, like, act in faith now and trust the Lord now. So if you're feeling those fears, like, don't just let it be your secret. Don't let that be your anxious secret for 9 months. Your shameful secret of I'm worried, I'm afraid, I'm worried, I'm afraid. All right, baby's here. Doc, are we good? Doc, are we good? Doc. Hey, man. Hey, like, trust the good physician now. And yes, we can still pay attention and we can walk in wisdom and do the things in the natural that we should. But I would encourage brothers, like, man, we got to get through that. That's a stronghold. That's an attack. That's a joy thief that
Yeah.
the enemy is deployed against a husband, and maybe mamas too. Maybe mamas are having a hard time. Like, maybe,
Well, you have no one to talk to about it. You can't tell your
yeah,
wife. You can't
oh,
be like,
exactly,
yeah, babe, I'm kind of worried this isn't going to go all the way through. Like, what? Oh, gosh, right? Like,
exactly.
so you're just stuck. You're like,
Yes,
and then when you
yeah,
finally do lose, because we had a loss,
yes.
um, when you finally do lose, you're like, whoa, like this is, so
So hard.
I
You got to
know,
take that up
I
the
know
chain
guys
of
are dealing with
command.
that. Yeah, yeah,
Another brother, older man who's been there and he's like, yep, I felt the same way, or hey, I can't relate, but now he's gonna minister to you. Like, don't do any of that alone, because that kind of head stuff, man. Then the enemy keeps shooting his arrows, and you're isolated. You're on an island. I can't tell my wife. Can't tell anybody. What kind of awful father am I, bro? You're not. You're just under attack, and we need to get you free.
yeah,
You need some helpful defense. Let's run the
sure,
enemy off together.
sure. Something from personal experience that I've learned through the pregnancies too was that I've been able to provide more confidence to my wife based on my being proactive in educating myself on particular things. Like this last baby, I I was like, okay, how does all of this work in this area I don't understand? And so before we had this baby, I went to the doctor. I was like, hey, I know you guys only, cord clamp for X amount of time, but I know that's the main blood supply for the baby and the most nutrients. And so I was like, how about we do, 7 minutes? And like me and the doctor are negotiating back and forth, and we got 5, which is, a whole 4.5 more minutes than they typically do because they're just moving, moving, moving.
Yeah.
And this has been the healthiest baby we have ever had by a long shot. And I'm like, so going to her with that information and being like, hey, babe, I was looking at this, looking at that, it gave her a lot of confidence. Like, okay, he's here
Yeah.
and trying to help.
Ownership. Chris is owning this thing. He's not like, you do the baby thing.
Yeah.
I'll go make money. See you in 9 months. But like, no, this is my house. This is my wife. This is my baby. Oh, I just learned this. Now I'm responsible for this. I'm taking ownership of this. That's a blessing. That's a great example. The Family Captain is all about helping Christian husbands to build an incredible marriage and family culture. It's self-leadership, it's family leadership, it's sex and marriage, all made practical so husbands, wives, and children can enjoy God's best and truly thrive. It's one thing to believe that Christians should have the best marriages and sex lives. It's another thing to know how to make it all happen. But inside our Family Captain Elite coaching program, that's exactly what you're going to learn. In the Family Captain Elite, men are not only equipped with the conviction to act, but also with the wisdom to navigate their exact situations. And they get a clear, practical path to get them the incredible fruit that they're after. So, if you want to take your marriage and family culture from just fine to incredible, then go to thefamilycaptain.com and book a free assessment call to see if the Family Captain Elite program really is a good fit for you. That's thefamilycaptain.com. Family leadership is a high calling for your life. So, what are you waiting for?
Let's talk about boundaries. I know a lot of guys throw this joke like, yeah, she's pregnant, and we got that 1 or 2 year old, and so the 1 or 2 year old still sleeps in the bed, and I've been sleeping on the couch for some time because she's uncomfortable. She needs, both pillows or whatever. Like, talk about what that does to a marriage.
I'm solving all that, bro. I'm solving that hard and fast if that's happening in my marriage. It's like, oh, this bed, this pillow, this. Like, okay, guess who's buying a new bed? We don't have the money for that. Guess who's going and making and earning more money and bringing new value to the world? Like, the marriage bed will be held sacred. It will be honored. It will be prioritized by John Michael Clark. So, like, I'll just do whatever I have to do. Like, I'm not gonna be moved to my sofa. Oh, aren't you gonna be compassionate? Yeah, dude, I'll get a California King if I have to. It doesn't matter, or I'll get the custom thing made. Like, we'll figure this. I'm going to solve this instead of like, well, what are you gonna do? You're gonna figure it out. So we've got to prioritize that. And then yeah, once little ones are growing up, some people like that. Just man, it's just so sweet having our little ones in our bed, and I get that. Like I love that you love your little ones. I love my little ones, but I think oftentimes that tenderness for the little ones in daddy and mommy's bed. I'm not telling you don't snuggle your babies.
Right.
I'm just saying snuggle them in their bed, and then you go get in your bed with your wife. And I've always had that very like sacred view of our bedroom. And I've always prioritized that with her. Like whenever junk ends up in our bedroom, like when our bedroom used to kind of be the catch-all room, I was like, this will not be the catch-all. The kitchen will be the catch-all before my bedroom is the catch-all. This will be the sanctuary of love. This will be the. I was going to put together a bunch of funny phrases there, but I'm growing in wisdom, and I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
So
That's a big one because culturally, man, like that's just acceptable. Guys, like, yeah, I get it. I remember. And to be fair, like we typically let our kids sleep with us until they're like 1, and then I'm like crib, because sure you're like learning to roll over and all the different things, and now you're getting acclimated and
yeah,
mom and all the things. But yeah, there are people who are just like, yeah, he's 6 and he's still sleeping in the bed, and
yeah.
I'm on the
Yeah,
couch.
she likes snuggling him, and
Yeah.
it's typically a mama in an apron strings situation, and daddy who's not like helping to differentiate and go, hey, yes, like baby time is precious.
Oh, yeah.
Like we want mama nursing that baby, we want snuggles, we want naps, we want those two having all that, and at the same time, we want boyfriend girlfriend. Like we're married, and you're my wife, so we're not gonna let her, turn to this little idol factory or this new little idol that she gave birth to and make that a big thing. That's a line Natalie was reading. Natalie's been reading Little Women to us, or Little Men, Little Women. She's been reading them both. But that was one of the lines in the book. This young couple in the book, they're married and they have twin babies. And the woman, and we talked about this, I think, before on the podcast.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
The woman's mom comes and her mom corrects her because the young bride's complaining about her husband. He's not really here as much. He's hanging out with his friends. And she's like, this is your fault. She's like, mother, you're supposed to side with me. But this is before the modern moment when, a woman could do no wrong. So her mom's like, no, I've seen you, latch onto these little idols and blah, blah, blah. Like she's just like correcting her daughter with loving honesty so that her marriage can be salvaged. And she starts to make some adjustments that tear her up inside. It's so hard for a mama. But sure enough, husband comes in and leads with some strength, and the kids start obeying instead of just walking all over mommy, that kind of thing. So we got to have that happen. When? What's the timeline? I'm not going to give people strict legalistic timelines. I'm just going to say you got to understand the principles and you got to prioritize the right thing.
Yes.
So, brand new baby, like it is mommy and baby bonding time, and also there's still a marriage here, like both and at the same time. Let's walk this out with grace. Let's walk this out with wisdom. If you got a concern, hey, brother, you speak for you. Hey, baby, I love all this bonding time. I love all this thing. I also need, we need to also have some quality time. Well, right now is a different season, blah, 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 blah. Defensiveness, excuses. Hey, I understand all that. And also, I just want you to know, you and me, baby, That's what it's all about. Like, we've got to start shaping. If her mind is not being renewed properly, then we got to wash her with the water of the word and remind her that we're the priority and we're not going to be strangers to one another for the next 20, 25 years
Mhm.
until we stare at each other one day and go, well, nice to meet you again.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. That's a great point because it happens a lot. Again, because culture's like, yeah, it's fine, it's good, it's fine, like it's all good. Here's where I want to go with this. I think oftentimes the greatest temptation for a man with lust and things of that nature are when things change in pregnancy. And the temptation doesn't come from a place of like, I'm just going to do this just because. I think it comes from a place of frustration. It comes from a place of like, well, I literally am not getting it from you and you're my wife, right? If I'm just using guy terms, right? This is for guys.
Yeah.
And they fall into things that they felt like they had victory over. Um, and so, just talk about the temptation in leading through pregnancy.
Yeah. I mean, it's an entitlement mindset that would lead us to that. It's a self pity that would lead us to that. So just like
Exactly.
you were saying earlier, we've got to go get brotherly help. We can't let that just live in our head and be like, well, she's casting her vote. I'm casting my vote, but I guess I'll just take care of myself, whether it's with the internet or with something else. But he's got to get up the chain of command, so that he's got brothers fighting with him, telling him the truth. And then, yeah, navigating that situation with her, somebody else to speak wisdom into it, not a Melvin who's going to be like, oh my goodness, brother, leave that girl alone, for the next 12 months. Like, shut up. What an idiot. But um, he's got to have support who will look at the whole situation with honesty and be like, hey, this seems wise. This seems right. This seems appropriate. This seems like, yeah, she needs to be confronted by you, brother. Like, you need to say the truth with plain speech. And and that's going to keep him out of the self-pity. The brother can kick him in the butt and be like, hey, like, you're not Job, okay? Like somebody to help bring you back down to reality so that you don't just get stuck in your own little
Sure.
vicious cycle of self-pity and then self-gratification.
Sure. And you bring up a great point with that because it is a level of entitlement and the root of it is selfishness. It comes from a place though typically
Sin, well,
where
the sin would be selfishness. We want to be clear.
yes,
The man
the
pursuing his
sin.
wife, that's not selfish. We're not calling that
Correct.
selfish at all. But
Correct.
if in his wife's selfishness and denial of her husband, if he then goes and
Mhm.
deals with his issues sinfully, then yeah, that's the real problem. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, what I'm getting at is insecurity, right? Like it doesn't matter how smoking hot your wife is now. When she's pregnant, she is insecure. And her insecurity reflects a lot of her decisions. And so, just help a guy understand this and look at it from a different lens rather than just me, 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 me.
Hmm. Well, that's where sofa time will come in. When the two of you are hanging out, when life isn't transactional in any way, so that you're actually connecting to each other and you're penetrating her emotionally so she's able to keep processing. She, more importantly than you, has to keep processing
Oh,
emotions
that's good.
all the time. If
That's
she's
good.
not processing emotions regularly, and if you don't have the wisdom and skill to lead her to process those emotions, and we want that without judgment, without accusation, without leadership, that is a big ask for most women because she's going to turn her emotion into you need to. She's going to turn her emotion into you oughta. She's going to turn her emotion into you didn't instead of I feel this emotion vulnerably, submissively. I just declare where I'm at. And then you can come in and lead her through with whatever's needed. Maybe prayer is needed. Maybe encouragement is needed. Maybe it will help you to shift and provide a new thing in a new way. And you're like, oh, I can fix that. So that's where I'm going to go. Because by the way, we listen to our wives and we fix. We never do the thing that we've all been taught by Melvin to do, which is,
Yeah.
do you need me to listen or do you need me to fix it? I'm not asking Natalie how to lead Natalie. I'm going to lead Natalie based upon what I believe is best for Natalie, and that's going to include both and. I am here to lead her, to protect her, to provide for her. So I'm going to penetrate her emotionally, which I always know is a need of hers. She always needs to express her emotion so she doesn't get emotional constipation and frustration. And then once she shares that with me, that's on the captain now. Now I will make the decision. I'm not going, just tell me what you need. Do you need a girlfriend? Because I can be that for you. No, I can't. I will not be your girlfriend, but I'll always be your husband. That means I'll always be gentle, not always perfectly, but you know what? That's the heart. Always be gentle, always be compassionate, always be kind. And heck yeah, I'm an action taker. So that's the hard part for guys. Can you be patient enough to really let her get her emotion out,
Hmm.
and you really hear the thing behind the thing, and get past the disrespect, the leadership, the judgment, the accusation,
Yeah.
and then can you find what's best and what's next for her? But she needs all that, and that comes from quality time, bro. We take
Yes.
that for granted all the time, Chris. Like, y'all ought to be enjoying each other. Y'all ought to be hanging out. Man, we don't have any time. Fair enough. Freaking fix it. Fix it. What are you gonna do? You're gonna fix it. I don't know how. All right. Good luck. Enjoy it. You deserve it. Whatever is coming.
Yeah. So, JM, as captains, obviously we know there's a little bit of flexibility needed here, but how much are we allowed to let the ship off course in
Oh
pregnancy?
man, zero point 0 degrees. That's a great question. How much do we let the ship off course? How much do we apply wise leadership to navigate through? A lot. But how much do we let the ship steer off course? Not at all. Like just because there's a storm, and not that pregnancy is a storm, like it's a blessing, like we said, but if there's challenges that come along with it, we'll call it a storm. Leadership matters more during the storm, not less. Not like, I'll let go of the wheel now. Don't worry about the sails anymore, everybody. Like, there's a storm. What are you going to do? Bro, no, no, no. Like, all the systems, all the leadership, all the wisdom matters way more right now. But is there still flexibility? Yeah, welcome to wisdom. It makes me think of Ernest Shackleton. So their ship has been crushed in the ice at this point. They've abandoned ship. They're dragging their 2 lifeboats around on these ice floes that are just vanishing before them and cracking apart all the time. But their feet are frozen, their soggy boots, and one of the older guys refuses. So they're all got their shoulders on ropes and they're pulling these things along. And like this is life and death scenario. And one of the guys refuses to keep pulling the boat. Oh, I remember reading this book for the first time and I was like, Shackleton is about to go off. It's about to be leg of authority up in here. The leg of authority is going up this dude's butt. And Shackleton walks back to him, and the guy's just frustrated and he's mad and he's like, I'm not doing it, and effing and blah, 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 and cussing and all the things. And Shackleton just looked at him and just kind of, I don't remember exactly, so if I'm misquoting the book, I've read it multiple times, but it was such a powerful lesson. Shackleton just kind of looked at him, listened to him, and then just walked away. And all the other guys had to keep carrying the boats, and this guy just kind of walked alongside for who knows how many miles. And I remember just being like, what? No, I thought you're supposed to. It's hammer time. Like, like this is life and death. This is all man culture. There ain't a woman in sight. Bro, get your act together. Get on the rope, you selfish little boy, and let's do what men gotta do. Well, spoken like a stupid John Michael, but Shackleton had the wisdom to go, you know what? What is the track record of this man? Who has this man been? Is this an exceptional moment for this man? Or is this guy always a selfish brat? So again, is your wife always a selfish brat? Well, then we ought to be working on that anyway. And pregnancy is not a time to stop working on it. But if there's some unique things happening, brother, can you be gracious for a moment? Can you shut up for a few minutes specifically to pray for her and trust the Holy Spirit to convict her? Because Shackleton left room for, we'll say Shackleton left room for the Holy Spirit. Shackleton left room for a man to walk for a couple of miles while the entire crew is standing here pulling on ropes, and you got a bit like that was punishment. When you go through boot camp scenarios, the punishment they give you is they set you out at times, and everybody else has to suffer for your sake. And that's the most shameful thing you can do to a man because everybody else is doing it now. Whenever I went through the fire academy, that's what they did. It
Mm,
was like if you did something stupid, they're like, "Hey, everybody, you're gonna do this," and,
right.
you start to get after like, "Not you, you're the princess. You get to stand over here." And you're like, oh, "Okay," so now you feel awful. It's
Yep.
effective. So Shackleton just leaves the man alone and leaves room. But so many guys are so anxious and insecure in their own leadership, everything they see they got to jump on. Or they start to learn about leadership and headship and they're like, I've lacked authority for so long. I need all the authority. Ooh, brother, we need balanced leadership. There's 3 legs. They need to be perfectly balanced. Just because you've been absent of authority for a long time doesn't mean you double down on authority now. You need to walk it out with wisdom. So, how much do we let the ship veer off course? Shackleton he didn't sacrifice the mission. And yet, he did something that looks like, oh my goodness, if you let that happen in a culture, you'll lose the whole culture. That's true if you keep doing it all the time. but it
Right.
was an exceptional moment. So, Jamichael, can you give us a perfect script? No. Welcome to leadership. Welcome to the art form. Welcome to wisdom, where the details really do matter. Well, I don't want to be a coward. Me either. But in the name of not being a coward, it's easy to overspeak. It's easy to overcoach. It's easy to overcorrect and be like, "Ugh, I can't allow any of this. A little leaven leavens the whole lump. King Jesus said so. Beware the yeast of the Pharisees." So was Shackleton being an idiot? No, I think Shackleton was being wise. And that guy comes around and gets back on the boats, like, and everything goes well and wisely. So guys have got to grow in wisdom. But
Yeah.
do you let the ship veer off course? Absolutely not. Not in your fitness, like we were talking about, not in the family culture. Do we make pivots? Do we make changes? Is this a new season and a new moment? Of course. You better believe it. Like, we want to do different things. We want to have better, but the systems matter more. We're not staying up till 2 a.m. watching Netflix because she wants to, because she's growing a human. What? She needs more sleep, not less. She needs less screens, not more. We need better food and better nutrients, not worse. Like, everything matters more now in the middle of the storm. So, like, what a great time to get even more dialed in.
Yeah. That's wise because I'm thinking of like, maybe there's this really strict type A wife who is pregnant and now she's just like feeling like she doesn't understand how to respond to responsibilities right now. And maybe you're a little more type A and you're like, oh, no, 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 no. You have to do your thing, right? There is wisdom there, right? So, you know
Yeah.
what?
The
There's wisdom
leadership
there.
protection for some wives is going to be,
Yeah.
baby, we need to shift and you need to downshift. Girl's
Mhm.
been running in sixth gear and you need to build her life in a way that she can shift down to third. For some wives, they need that. For some wives, if they're lazy, then they need like, hey, like they're gonna be like, oh yes, what an awesome 9 month, what an awesome 2 year excuse I have now to lay
Mhm.
around and do nothing and not build up my household. Like she's gonna need a different kind of leadership. But they both need like what is best? What's best? Love always does what's best. Not what's most comfortable for me, not what's gonna make me most popular. But love is always willing to do what's best. And I'm
Right.
willing to go first and I'm willing to sacrifice and make all the changes that I need to. Got to make sure I'm always leading without hypocrisy. But once I can confirm that, I'm going, okay, there are others who I need to shepherd. There are others who I need to help.
Yeah. That makes me feel like that makes me think of the holidays, right? So we'll be over at a family's house and we we're not a big dessert family. We don't have dessert every night. It's not like a thing. And we always let our kids have like a piece of cake, a piece of pie on holiday. Is that
Thanksgiving,
normal? No.
Christmas.
Like we no, absolutely not. So if every day we're like, yeah, you can have 5 scoops of ice cream and a piece of cake and a piece of pie every day, like that would be bad. But it's the holidays, sure, we'll let loose a little bit and there is that flexibility there. But just because it's the holidays doesn't mean you're having 2 pieces of cake a day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner
Right.
because it just
Absolutely.
throws everything off kilter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
when you have vision, when you have a direction, when you have
Yes.
standards,
Yes.
then you know what exceptions there are to make. When you don't have
Yes.
standards or vision at all, then you
Hmm.
never have a boundary. You never know what's an exception and what's not. It just feels like
Yes.
everything's a free for all. So it's like, can we, can't we? But y'all have a standard. This is the normative for us. This is the exception.
Hmm.
But if you first have to have normative. What's normative? What is the
Right.
expectation? What's the healthy standard for this household? What's our family culture? Okay,
Right.
that's a little bit outside of it. We don't do that much screen time in this family. We don't do that in this family. We don't do that. So it's like, all right, fair enough. I can let flex because I know where the standard is, and I know I'm gonna bring it back tomorrow.
Which is
Instead of
which is
instead
well
of it's a free
said.
for all.
Which is well said because, like I said earlier, you have culture and the other women, like, oh yeah, the house blows up during pregnancy. It's all whatever, all the excuses. And so, what you're saying there is really important. It's we as the leaders create the standard. Like we set the standard, not so and so who has 4 kids and says pregnancy's hard, and so do what you want, eat what you want, all the things. Not that eat what you want is the biggest thing. It's certainly not. But I'm just saying that's helpful for me to hear. And I know it is for a lot of guys too. Like you create the standard. Your wife knows, hey, we're going into this season, right? But this is our standard and we have flexibility, right?
Absolutely. And the more you can do things to take ownership and require less of her, the
Yeah.
more you get to control the outcomes. So the less you tell her what she's got to do, the more you control you, and the more you can solve for X without being dependent upon her. Because what if she's not on board with this program, with this way of thinking? Well, you still are. So you can still move forward. You can still make things happen. Or maybe my wife is lazy. All right. Well, are you going to let your house fall apart for the next 2 years while she uses the excuse of having a little one? Well, I don't know what else to do. Well, what about a house cleaner? Oh, I hadn't thought about that. Well, think about it. What about Becky from church? Like, she has some extra free time. What if she came in once a week for 90 minutes and just went around the house? I don't think my wife would go for that. Okay. Well, that might be a good conversation to have then. Hey, babe, we can do this or we can do that. Which would you prefer? Like, again, you're bringing the standard. Well, I'm not going to have her come in here. That's my job and blah, blah. Okay. Well, you get after it, baby. It just seemed like it was too much for you right now. I know there's a lot going on. So I'm here to solve things. But I'm not just going to sit back. I'm a hostage because my wife's ego won't allow a woman to come in and clean. But my wife's laziness won't also clean. I guess my hands are tied. Like, my hands ain't tied. Becky's going to be here next Monday at 2 o'clock. So, or whatever day you prefer, baby. But she's coming next week. So, like, again, I got there gently. I didn't get there in 5 minutes, everybody. That was not a 5 minute interaction and blindside my wife. But, like, I'm not stuck. I'm not your little boy. I'm your head. I'm not the head of this house. Christ is. But I am the head of my wife. I'm the head of my children. And I have this responsibility to do what I believe is best. So I'm going to gently, wisely shepherd and nurture my wife. But again, like, if you have 0 standards and you try and go to level 10 standards, bro, that's not wise and that's not fair to anybody. That's not how strength is built. That's not how disciplines are built. If you got level 0 standards, you should go to level 1 standards. So build that over time. But yeah, for the other guy who's just kind of stuck in like, yeah, my wife's not that extreme. We're kind of talking in some extremes here. My
Sure.
wife's not that extreme. Most aren't. Most aren't. But you still have to cast your vote. But oftentimes we're just afraid of her emotions. We're
Yes.
afraid of the defensiveness that's coming. I don't want to deal with all that. So I'm just going to kind of, brother, be loving. And that means tell the truth with gentleness. Well, she said it hurt her feelings. She's allowed to say that, brother. And you're also allowed to say, you want to see this thing shift and you want to see this thing change. So we're strangely avoiding some details, Chris, because the details are really so different in every circumstance. That's why we keep hitting the principles. Husbands, love your wives like Christ loves the church and gave himself up for her. Husbands, do not be harsh with your wives. Live with her in an understanding way, showing honor to her as the weaker vessel, so that the Lord doesn't block your prayers. Like, the Lord wants us to be gentle, the Lord wants us to be tender, and at the same time, like, side by side with all those commands I just gave, clearly your authority is established in your marriage. Like, literally right beside those examples I just gave are commands for you to be honored and respected. So, well, which is it? It's both and. Well, I can't make her honor me and respect me. That's fine, but you better honor and respect yourself. And that means you will still have a standard. She don't
Yeah.
go along with it. Fair enough. Let's walk forward in wisdom. Let's walk forward in gentleness. You and me versus the world is the vibe that we're looking for here. You and me, baby. Boyfriend, girlfriend, and yes, I love our babies, and I'm going to protect and care for and lead and shepherd our babies. But I'm going to have standards for them too. But yeah, we don't want dudes to get like, some bros are super, super type A. They're like, our kid's 2 weeks old and he's still in the bassinet. I'm like, bro, it's bassinet season. It's baby in bed. It's nurse. Like, baby rules the world for 4 weeks, right? For sure. I know depending on your baby philosophy, like, you start to get dialed in, right? But yeah, 6 months in, we should not be hostage to baby. We need to be building a schedule for baby. Baby needs to be doing what we're
Yes.
teaching baby to do. But bro, like, I've talked to guys who are in the family captain elite. They're like, hey, the baby's like 5 days old. Guys are like, I don't want to set some precedent for the coming years. We're like, brother, brother, I love your zeal. Chill. Like,
Yeah.
it's baby time. You are hostages to baby. Let me say it plainly. It's
Hmm.
baby's world and you're living in it. Like,
Yeah.
baby's 5 days old. Like, this is baby season all the way.
Yeah.
Enjoy it and submit to it in a sense.
Right.
And don't freak out about the future. Like, we're going to be okay.
Yes. And that's a different episode. When the baby comes out, it's different than pregnancy, right? Because now we're dealing with a myriad of things, but we're dealing with idolatry of the baby, like the baby interrupting normal cadence and rhythm of life and how to lead through that. And we should
Yeah.
probably do a separate episode on it, honestly, because it is a totally different game. Here's how I want to end this episode. Let's talk about sacrifice. It's no secret. Women have to sacrifice their bodies to have babies. And that's God's design, right? And so as the leader, what am I sacrificing? And for how long? You started to allude to it even a second ago. What am I sacrificing for how long? What cross am I bearing in all of this in leading through pregnancy?
Well, there's more weight on the man. I mean, as soon as a woman gets pregnant, many men have this like adulthood revelation. Like many men become men because of the appropriate weight and they feel all this pressure. Like marriage didn't do it for them for some reason because they probably had the life partner approach. But for whatever reason, a lot of times when the baby comes, guys get the light bulb clicks on. And unfortunately, then they go full, like, my life's all about being a father. Like, first it should be husband, or first it's believer, of course, child of God, and then husband, and then father. But fatherhood gets a lot of praise and a lot of priority. Like, my kids are my life. Like, nah, don't say that. Christ is your life. Your wife is your wife. Your kids are your kids. Like, let's get everything legitimately in the right place. Not just intellectually and not just on paper, but truly in your heart.
Yeah.
So a lot of times a big shift happens for guys, and it's the weight of responsibility. What's the cross that they're going to bear? Well, it's the responsibility for the sacrifice. And well, what's that look like? Well, it depends, but it's the weight of all the pressure. It's the weight of all the responsibility, and it just grew because now there's somebody else here. And now I need to solve. I need to solve for freeing up my wife to prioritize this baby. She needs to downshift. Like if she's been running in sixth gear, like during pregnancy, I want her to downshift, and after baby, I want her to stay downshifted. And I mean, generally, I don't want my wife in sixth gear anyway. Like I want Natalie Clark in like third, maybe fourth gear. She's still very godly, very capable. She has a lot of responsibilities, but they're discipling women and helping me, and loving our boys and cherishing them and running our household. But I don't want Natalie in like high gear, max RPM. That's the kind of thing that we have to do. That's the sacrifice that we make. If anybody ever has to redline in this household, it's going to be me. And if anybody has to redline all the time, then something is screwed up and you're living life wrong. Life's redline all the time, then you're doing it wrong. I'm thoroughly convinced the Lord wants you to rest. It's vain for you to go to bed late. It's vain for you to rise early in the morning. Unless the Lord builds the house, those that labor build in vain. Unless the Lord is keeping watch over the city, the watchman is watching in vain. Like we were saying, the arm of flesh, striving, doing everything in my own strength instead of trusting in the Lord and actually being dependent upon Him in a way that is surrendered, in a way that is submissive. Give your wife a great example of submission. Let her see a man in submission to authority every day. But that's the weight that we bear, is the seasons of extra comes to us. The extra weight comes to us. That might mean dishes. That might mean diapers. That might mean whatever. Not in the sense of Melvin, not in the sense of being our wife's helper, but being our wife's leader, saying like, I'm going to solve it. Maybe solving it means Becky's coming over to clean and I paid Becky. Maybe solving it looks like, I prepped our moms to come over and help more. Maybe solving it looked like I take over this meal. Maybe whatever. But the pressure is on you. You might have to shift up a new gear. The Lord might give you a new gear and change your RPM limitations and graduate you higher so that she can downshift and she can be surrendered and rested. She's not having to kill dragons. That's your specialty, bro.
Yeah.
Let her be with her babies. Let her nurture her babies. And, like Jonna told Chris a few weeks ago, sent him that picture. It was like, thank you for, like you said, the kids were like, out with her on the back porch.
Yeah.
In
They
their
were laying out on the
pajamas,
patio.
living that homeschool life. And she was like,
Right.
thank you for building this life for us. And it was like, give me 50 more dragons to slay. I will kill them now. Like Chris can now, like new gears for him. And he's like, that's what I want. I want my girl with my babies. And this evening she's going to be my girlfriend. And like, we're living the dream. Like life achievement unlocked right there. So that's what the sacrifice looks like. It's not one thing specifically. It's not ice cream at 11:30 at night, although Melvin would tell us that's the sacrifice a husband makes. It's so shallow, dude. It misses out on the bigness of leadership and the millions of things he's paying a good leader's paying attention to, the millions of things he's noticing and thinking about, the blood flow through the umbilical cord
Mhm.
or the meal schedule after baby is born or the, you know, exercise plan or the household plan or the how to take care of the other little ones once baby's born because new baby is mommy and mommy is baby. Mommy's baby's whole world. What about the other 3 kids, 4 kids, 5 kids,
And they
12
act
kids?
out. Yeah.
Yeah, who's got them? What's happening with them? How,
Yep.
like, what are they doing while mama's nursing? Every nursing session for every 2 hours. What's the plan there? So the captain's thinking through that. And the
Yes.
captain's going, all right, how do I solve this? How do I solve that? And he's
Yep.
putting together the nursing baskets. These are your nursing baskets. What's that mean, Daddy? These are the things you get to play with. These are the coloring books you get. But you only get them when mama is nursing the baby. That's the only time you get to play with them. So captains are going there. That was one thing I did well as
Yeah.
well. I came
Yeah.
up with the nursing basket idea. Or maybe I stole it from the internet. I don't know. But, so you're doing stuff, you're building stuff, you're thinking through stuff. What's the burden you're carrying? It's always responsibility.
Yeah.
That's the burden. But it's a joyful one. And we're thankful for it. We
Amen.
don't begrudge it. We're not self-pity about it. We're like, I got this. And I'm happy
Amen.
to be the greenhouse that my girl can thrive in.
Let's bring clarity to this because as you were saying that, I think the burden that culture says you'll carry as a man is no sex.
Oh, yeah. No, thank you. I'm going to opt out of that burden. That's not going to happen. Yeah. Not in my universe. There's not this universe or any parallel universe in Marvel or DC where that's going to be the scenario. Again, in the normative health circumstance.
Right.
During pregnancy or in after, what after is like the 6 weeks? Is that what the doctors say?
Yes. 6 weeks. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So with all that, like we keep up the warm waters of the marriage and like even if everybody's not feeling, like I said, super hot and passionate, oh my goodness, I'm craving you. I'm craving you too. Wow, I just feel as horny as a teenager. Like, wow, me too. Like, I doubt that's going to be the dynamic all the time, but our marriage still needs its nutrients, so we're still going to prioritize it.
Yeah. Yeah. Amen. I'm going to give some encouragement to the guys listening here. I am a firm believer that engaging in something like the Family Captain Elite in a difficult season is a great plan. And here's why. If you need to lose weight and you challenge yourself to lose weight during the holidays instead of use it as an excuse for it's not the perfect time, you will have an exponentially easier time keeping the weight off the rest of the year. And so if you are in a season right now where your wife is pregnant and you're like, yeah, we need to wait for the baby to get here and stuff like that, actually, no.
That's a great point.
Actually, no. You need to really seek the Lord and what he has for you as far as growth in this season. In a difficult season, if you can get dialed in, your life will change.
Yeah. It's weird, man. Especially in the first few years of the Family Captain when I launched it full time, it was Rona times. So we had a disproportionate, just an insane amount of people move during their time in the Family Captain Elite. And we had other big stuff happen. We had babies born, we had job changes, we had firings, we had hirings, we had surgeries. And the things that guys who have had the craziest stuff going on during their time in the Family Captain Elite, the thing they've always told me is, I'm so glad I was in the Family Captain Elite during this thing because I was a different man for this thing.
Yeah.
So that's the other side of the coin. One side of the coin's like, let me let for the dust to settle, which it's never going to.
It never does.
Yeah, it never does. But so the other side of that coin is like, no, like it matters more in a storm. Like we said earlier, like leadership. Well, I'm just gonna let it just see how bad it gets, and then we'll tie it all up later. Like, hey, actually, now's the best time to actually start leveling up and leading. When it's difficult, you're caught in a current. Well, let's see if I drown, and then we might move forward after that. Like, hey, let's actually get squared away now. Let's get out of this current. Let's chart a course. Let's go the direction you want to go, and let's start right now. We don't have to wait.
Amen. So, guys, look, if you're like, okay, yeah, I hear you. You're right. I'm always waiting for the perfect time. Check the description below. You can find information on the Family Captain Elite. Do an assessment call. See if it's the right fit for you. Regardless, guys, we just want you to win. We want you to level up, and we don't want your family to be like, oh, I guess this is as good as it gets. Because
Action.
that's what it is if we're not willing to take action.
Amen.
So yeah, man. Well, good stuff today, dude. I think I'm sold on doing an episode post-baby. because there are a
Yeah.
lot of dynamics.
But as far as
Yeah.
walkaways for this one, guys, go
Yes.
get your wife pregnant. That's step one.
That's right, baby.
So that's the homework for this one. Go plant
good
your
one.
seed. Let's be fruitful and multiply. And then you can apply all the lessons from this episode. You're welcome.
Love it, dude. Till next time.
Go captain your ship. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Family Captain Podcast. Now go take some action and serve by leading well. Also subscribe, leave a review so more men can find the podcast and be helped. And if you're ready to take your growth to the next level and you'd like more support, check out thefamilycaptain.com for our resources that will help you accelerate your journey. And until next time, go captain your ship.